Hello guys, welcome to a new video here in JS Education. My name is Carlos Santana and this is the video number 41 for the course developing a headless CMS with TypeScript and GraphQL. So let's start. As always, we need to update our packages using ncu-u, and just remember that you should use the version you are seeing on my terminal. Good news, finally React is official on 17. So after that, you need to install those packages. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is going backend and then source data. And we are going to open our translations files. The first one is the Arabic. So I already made most of the translations for the three main languages we have. So I'm going to replace it here. You don't need to worry copying those files because this is gonna be on the repository, but basically contains most of the translations. I will say all of them, but probably I missed some. Also, you need to open the Spanish version. And I'm going to copy all the translations here. Just need to remove this repeated one, just like this. And the last one is the Japanese. Like that. Perfect. Okay, so after you do that, you need to go to frontend ESLint. Sorry, frontend ESLint RC. And we are going to turn off a new role called not nested ternary. And then after that, you need to go to create a model file. So in this video, I'm going to show you just in one file how I'm implementing the translations, but I'm not going to do that for all the files, otherwise this video will take 2 or 3 hours. But I just want to show you how it's implemented. After I make all the necessary changes, I will stash my changes and I will change to a branch where I have all the translations and all the implementation in the entire platform. Otherwise, it's going to be too hard to show you. And then I will show you all the site, how it's been translated. But for now, we just need to include this content context here. And then basically, we get the translation function using the use context. And remember that all the redirect to functions that you are seeing on all the models, now it needs to have the true as a second parameter because this is going to include language. So automatically it's going to include the current language we are on it. And after you do that, basically you need to start translating by adding the T function and then just a text like this with all of them. So this is a very tedious task to do. So that's why I don't want to spend the entire video doing this. Otherwise, this video is gonna be boring. But basically you need to do like this, passing the text you want to translate with the T function in all the files. So I'm just going to do a few like these ones and I will keep the others without translate because at the end I will switch to a branch that has all the text translated already. Okay, and then from here we need to move to create enumeration model. And in here also we need to import the context. We need to get the context T. Like basically you need to do this in all the files. But the difference on this file is that all always that you see a get parent from URL method, now you need to include the language. So also here I'm going to skip the translations because that's not the idea. I just need to add to the redirect to the second parameter as true to all of them. Okay, and then now let's go to modal.styled, and in here we are going to include device from the theme, and basically I'm going to change some styles or add some styles to this button class. I'm going to include the width 98.9%, and I'm going to include two media queries, one from mobile Excel. This is a new breakpoint that I will add later, and then the regular mobile device. Okay, after this, you need to go to cards.styled. And in here, we are going to add the is right to left validation. And basically, here we are going to change this with 100% and adding a margin 0 auto and change the width to 98%. And on this H1, we are going to change the text align left because, as you know, when we switch to Arabic, we set the direction of the page to right to left. So this text align left is forcing the H1 to float or to be aligned to the left, but that needs to be depending on the direction, right? So this is right to left validation is gonna be true only on Arabic. So the text align is, if it's right to left, then we just align by right, otherwise by left. And we add the width and the margin 0 auto. After this, you go to the index file here. And basically, I mean, here you need to also include the context and everything. But the only change that I'm going to make here that is different from the translation is to change the position center to position top. And this is because on large resolutions, when you made a model on the center, looks a little bit down, so this will fix the problem. Okay, and after that you need to go to my apps.styled, and in here we are going to add min height 70 bh, and that's the only change there. And then we need to open my apps index, and basically in here we are going to add a new component that we will create later. It's gonna be called logout, and basically we place that after cards like that. And then you need to go to declarations index, and in here as well you need to add all the content context and everything. But besides that, I'm going to add a new prop here called language, and basically we receive it like this. And I'm going to change this height validation. Before was validating just if it's a drop down or reference, but now we need to validate that. But if it's a Japanese language, we need to increase a little bit more the size of the height because the Japanese takes more space. So if it's a drop down or reference, but if it's Japanese, then it will take 820 pixels, otherwise 790. But if it's not a drop-down or reference, but it's still Japanese, we will need 740, otherwise 700. So that's the only change we need there. After this, let's go to config index. And in here, I made a change on my cache. So I removed the enable node and I directly changed this to Boolean. So that means that now on my local JSON, I'm going to move the false directly to here. And in production, made it true, like that. After this, go to constant links. And then in here, we are going to pass the language, and then also we need to pass the parameter in the URL. And at the end, we are going to create a logout link, which is just /language or /logout. And after this, you need to go to context content. And in here, we are going to make some changes. So the first one we need to include is local from config. And also we are going to receive and return the language. So we need to do this, and then by default we are going to get English. So I'm going to make a change on the T function. Before was just validating if the key exists, otherwise return the key. But now I can receive up to 3 keys. The first one is mandatory and the other 2 are optionals. But if we get the key 2, then basically we just concatenate to the key 1. And if we get key 3, we ask if it's just a question mark or exclamation mark. We concatenate without space. Otherwise, we concatenate and we add a space. And only in local, and if the key doesn't exist in our object and the language is different from English, we are going to console the key that is missing and then a blank space. So this will help us to like copy directly from the console all the missing translations. So basically you copy this, you paste it on the file, language file, and then you put the translation there. And we do the same. If doesn't exist the key 1, we return the key 1 directly. And we just basically need to return the language like that. Okay, so now let's go to pages, language, dashboard, module name, model. And in here, we need to grab the language from the router. And we need to pass it to our content provider. Also on stage index, we need to import the content provider. We're going to pass the content prop. You need to get the language from the router. Basically, we need to grab our application using the content provider as well. And also on this file, we need to do exactly the same. We're using the functional component, context, and then like this. And in this, the router is like hard-coded. So basically just pass the language in there. And also we need to pass the content provider like that. Okay, so also on the login, we need to pass the language. And in here as well. And just pass it to the content provider. Just like that. And then our app underscore app is going to, we are going to remove this local storage from here and change it for is browser from fogg-utils. We need also to include the context. We need to pull the language from the props. And we are going to grab our page not found into the content provider to be able to translate this page not found in different languages. And basically, we just need to pass the language to the main component. And that's it. Okay, so in here on the get initial props, we're going to make some changes. We need to ask if it doesn't exist local storage and is not the browser, that means it's server. Then basically in here we require or not local storage, not before, because the problem before was that it used some file system function from Node, but when you are on the client side, that breaks the page. So basically you need to do it there. But else if we are on the browser, our local storage is going to come from window.localstorage. We don't need this. And also here we need to validate if the language exists. And basically we are going to save or cache only when our config.cache is true. Okay, so that's everything for this file. Now let's go to server. And in the server, we are going to add the translation or the language to the logout, like that. And then we need to create a new component on shared components main. And it's gonna be called logout. Basically, you need to create logout.style.ts with this style. In here, we are going to add the is right to left, also the add function, which is new. And this function is very cool because we can add conditional CSS. So for example, we want a margin right 20 pixel only if it's not right to left, but we want to add a margin left 20 pixel if it's right to left. So this is very cool because you can send this. And also if you need to add more properties, you can also send an object, for example, add border, or add maybe margin top, and then you define that if your condition here. So that's another way to send multiple values here. Okay, and then the index. In here, basically, we just create an icon with a link, and we link that to the logout link. And the last thing we need to do is going to theme. And in here, we are going to add and then get current language from fogg-utils. We are going to add the mobile XL, which basically is just 1 pixel less than tablet, but also you need to add the device. And basically, before you export, we get the is right to left, and basically we just export the is right to left and the add. So that's everything we need to do. But there are not all the changes, of course, because as I told you at the beginning of the video, I have another branch with everything implemented. So for now, what I'm going to do is doing a git stash, and then I'm going to switch to git checkout video 41 is the name of the branch. I think I need to remove some files from the new components, but I'll just remove it. Okay, so now on this branch, I'm going to show you how are the translations done. So basically we just run the project. So by default, okay, let me go back, or let me see, log out directly. Well, this needs to be n-use, okay, and then / login. Okay, so this is the login, and then of course we can change the language to Spanish, for example. Okay, I connect, and then okay, let me see if moving to dashboard. Yeah, it's accessing. Okay, so this icon below is the logout component that we created just to log out here. We can create a new application here. Everything is translated to Spanish. If you remember, when you change to Arabic, everything is going to change right to left. So even the icon of the logout is changed to the left, and then everything is changed to the right. This is the validation we did with the is right to left on the H1 to align the text to the right. In here, probably I need to fix these styles later for the Arabic to move this to the right, but that's fine for now. Also, we have the site translated on Japanese, like this. I'm going to create my application blog. And then my model post. So everything is translated to Japanese as well. Everything like here. When you create a new field, title, for example, then you go to content. The table is not translated because it's part of the fogg-ui components. So in the next video, I'm going to send the object of translation to the fogg-ui. So we will be able to translate this as well. But for now, it's not translated. Also, this, you can check this on Spanish, for example. And then nuevo post, requerido, guardar, publicar. borrador, etc. Then when you save, now this is gonna be like in Spanish. Oh, what's next? You save correctly your entry. What do you want to do next? And then continuar editando, crear entrada, lista de entradas, etc. So that's basically how it's working right now. So that's it. I will cut the video here. I hope you like it. Remember that if you have any question, feel free to join our Slack community. The link is on the description. Also, if you really enjoy these videos, please help me to share those videos with your friends and also subscribe to the channel. So that's it. Thank you for your time and see you in the next video. Bye.